So this is the process of me using the Decorators Caulk for the first time. I've used the silicone sealant before, but decided to get a white caulk because I feel like it's easier to paint as the silicone was rejecting it. So I just used my Decorators Caulk with the gun, and I've done some practices. So I did like a straight wavy line, and then I did some lines straight and then much easier to use than silicone. And then I tried to block out and smoothen the raggedy bits of the cardboard, which I quite like, so you can still see like a wavy pattern, and it's like the natural structures of the material which you can still see but will be easier to paint. And I quite like seeing natural structures of the materials I'm using, so they're identifiable to the audience, like to the viewer, and whoever's seeing my work. And then this went a bit, I accidentally dropped something on this, but I tried it on the plasticine plasterboard, and then I tried smoothing out the plasterboard with this, and that worked really well. I think if I smoothened it before on like the edge and filed that down, that would be more successful, but it's very smooth. And then I did some mark making, so I really enjoyed this wavy one because it's easier than doing the line, and I think it's more interesting, and I really like it how you can see all the shadows, and I think it'll be really fun to paint over. And then I added some texture with a palette knife, which I really like. So I also used this palette knife, which I've got in a video, and a dry brush, but it's wet now because I've just washed it. But I used the palette knife to create like this texture, and I'm loving this, and I think it would be more interesting than just a flat surface. Plus, because I'm using cardboard and materials that have like, they're all recycled materials, so some of them are like dented and some of them got like cuts and marks and scratches on them. So I feel like using the caulk as like a textured base to create texture will help eliminate that and make it look a bit more professional, but also more expressionate. And I also, because I really want to explore that with movement, I got the dry brush and I did like circles, and I really like this. I was inspired by like Impressionism, Van Gogh, the mark making they used to create movement in a painting, and I think it's really interesting to paint over. And then I put a flat base with the palette knife, and then I stippled in grass marks with the palette knife, and I think this is really successful. And when you can see it in like a shadow, they look really interesting, and I'm really enjoying them. And I think if I painted over them, it'd be really interesting and just create movement and mark making in the work. And it's kind of like that sense of interactiveness and enjoyment of making. I love this one. I think it'd be cool for like the water, or just in general, like the fluidity of the paths, the fluidity of walking, of movement, and really fun to do and create, and it's like another pattern. So I also did the caulk on a piece of wood as well, which I'm going to paint over and test, and that actually stuck really well. That part went wrong, but it stuck with the wood really well, and I'm going to see how it dries.